Everyone around here knows about the house at the end of Harrowlane, not because of what it looks like, because of what it feels like when you get close to it. Like something inside already knows you are there. Like it has always known. Like it has been keeping track of everyone who has ever walked down that road and stopped at the gate and looked. And it has been patient, quietly and completely patient, for a very long time. 3 nights ago I made a decision I cannot take back. I did not just drive past. I went in. I was inside for 11 minutes. I only remember 4 of them. And whatever happened in the 7 minutes, my memory will not open. I did not leave it in that house. I brought it home with me. I know this because of what has been standing at the end of my bed every night since I came back. I know this because of the key I found on my pillow this morning. A key I have never seen before, from a gate I never touched. And I know this because of the recording on my phone. 4 minutes and 17 seconds of footage I did not take, showing me standing in that hallway, smiling at something I cannot see. Something tall, something that followed me home. There is a rule about the house at the end of Harrowlane. You do not go inside after dark, and you do not, under any circumstances, open a door inside that house that is already slightly open. The people who know why that rule exists are the people who learned why it exists by breaking it. And those people do not talk about what they found on the other side of those doors. They just stop sleeping, or they stop being the people they were before they went in. I thought about that 3 nights ago when I was standing at the gate, and I went in anyway. This is the last decision I made that I am certain was entirely my own. The silence on Harrowlane is not the silence of an empty road at night. It is a different kind of silence, not the absence of sound, the active presence of attention. Like walking through a room where someone is sitting very still in the dark. You cannot hear them, but you know they are there. The house appeared at the end of the road and I stopped walking. The gate was open. Not broken. Open the way a gate is open when someone is expecting a visitor. And the house looked back. I have tried for 3 days to find a better way to say that, and I cannot. The house looked back, with something that had no physical location, and no physical cause, and was nonetheless completely and undeniably real. The front door was slightly open, 3 or 4 inches, a gap of darkness in a dark wall. I remembered the rule. I stepped through the gate, and the gate swung shut behind me, quietly, on its own. The air inside that house pressed against my skin differently than the air outside. Denser, more present, and it moved when I moved. Not like a draft moves when you open a door, like something moves when it adjusts its position to maintain proximity. The darkness inside was not the darkness of an unlit building. It was layered. Places within the darkness that receded further than the walls should have allowed. Spaces that the flashlight beam reached the surface of and could not enter. Like the house contained more space than it occupied. Like some of that space belonged to something else, and the house had simply been built around it as a container. I was standing inside the container. 7 doors along the hallway, all open by exactly the same amount. 3 to 4 inches. Every single one. Arranged. I was at the 5th door when my flashlight flickered. One single flicker. It flickered the way a motion sensor registers movement. Because something had passed through the beam. Something I had not seen. From behind the 2nd door on the left, a sound. Weight shifting. The specific sound of something that has been completely still for a very long time, making the deliberate decision to move. I turned to look. The door was more open than it had been when I passed it. 1 inch. Something behind that door had leaned against it from the inside. I said hello. The silence after my voice was the worst silence I have ever stood inside. Because it was not empty silence. It was full silence. Then all 7 doors in that hallway moved at once, 1 inch further open, simultaneously, because my voice had confirmed something they needed to know. That I was real, that I was there, that I was inside. I turned to go back toward the front door, and stopped. At the end of the hallway, the end that had been a flat wall when I entered, there was a door, fully open, standing open in a wall where no door had been. The darkness beyond it was not the same darkness as the other doors. It had direction and intention and was pointed directly at me like a beam, like attention given physical form and aimed. I understood that the hallway I had walked into and the hallway I was currently standing in were not the same hallway. Something had rearranged itself around me, and the arrangement it had settled on was one in which I was in the center. My phone vibrated. One vibration, no signal, no notification, no reason. The screen turned on, recording, already in progress. Behind me in the recording, something was standing directly behind me. Close enough, but if I had taken one step backward, I would have stepped into it. Tall, still, and it was not looking at me. It was looking at the phone, at me watching the recording of it. It knew I was watching, and it wanted me to know it knew. I turned around, nothing there. I turned back to the screen, still there, still closer. I watched the camera tilt upward as it leaned down, and then at 4 minutes and 17 seconds, I smiled, on the screen, a slow smile, the expression of someone receiving information they have been waiting their entire life to receive. The screen went black, and from the house, from the walls and the floor and the air, 3 words, in my own voice, "You came in." I ran, I found the front door and I ran, and I did not stop until I reached my car. 4 minutes and 17 seconds of footage. I was inside for 11 minutes. 6 minutes and 43 seconds do not exist in the footage, but they happened. The first night I woke up at 3:14 a.m. to a sound I have never heard before. Breathing, from the end of the bed. Patient. A breathing rhythm that was not mine. Then I turned the light on. The room was empty, but on the carpet at the end of the bed, 2 depressions, deep and fresh, in the exact shape and spacing of feet. I touched them. They were warm. The second night I moved a chair to the end of the bed. I woke up at 3:14 a.m. The chair was on the other side of the room, not knocked over, not fallen, moved, placed neatly against the far wall. And on the wall above where the chair now sat, at a height of approximately 7 feet, a mark. The way something marks a place it has decided belongs to it now. The third night the bedroom door was open, not fully open, 3 to 4 inches. And from the gap, the same cold was coming through, and something was breathing behind that door, in my bedroom, in the dark, waiting. This morning on my pillow, the key from the Harrowlane gate, placed deliberately in the center of my pillow where my head had been. I found a foreign post from 11 years ago, 1 paragraph, account deleted 6 hours after posting. Went into the house on Harrowlane, came out with time I could not account for. Something came home with me. It stood at the end of my bed for 4 nights. On the 5th night, it was standing next to the bed, looking down at me while I slept. On the 6th night, I checked the whole house and could not find it. And then I walked past the mirror in the hallway, and I saw it standing behind me in the reflection. And when I turned around, it was not there. And when I looked back at the mirror, it was not there either. It had just found somewhere inside the house it preferred. One reply from an account that no longer exists. Same house, same nights, same progression. It finds somewhere inside the house that you cannot locate. And that is worse than seeing it. It is 3:09 a.m. as I write this. The breathing started 4 minutes ago, not from the bedroom. From somewhere else in the house, somewhere I have not been able to locate. The rule exists for a reason. You can walk up to the gate, you can stand at the perimeter and look, but you do not go inside. And you do not open a door that is already slightly open, because whatever is in that house, it does not chase, it does not threaten, it lets you leave. It watches you go, and then it follows, quietly, patiently, the way it does everything. It is 3:14 a.m. The breathing just stopped. That is the part that frightens me most. Not the breathing, the stopping, because both nights before this, it stopped breathing at 3:14 a.m. And both nights before this, I found the impressions in the carpet somewhere new, somewhere closer. Tonight I am sitting on the couch, and there are no impressions on the couch yet. And the breathing has stopped, and somewhere in this house, something is moving. Getting closer, with the specific patience of something that has never needed to rush, because it is already inside.